I'm easy work, I heard him say I'm easy work. If I was easy work, you would take all that money that he's offering you. But yet and still, he want 200 million for Benavidez, and he want 150 million to fight me. So that just lets me know right there that I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to his legacy, because it would be crazy for a guy that started at 135 to come all the way up to 168, your weight, no catch weight, no none of that, and dethrone you.
The one thing that I respect about Your Excellency and Turkey is he wants to make the best fights. That's basically it. And a lot of fighters, they outprice themselves, therefore the fans lose, and we can't watch those fights. But now Turkey's coming in, paying money, but he's not paying absurd amounts of monies that fighters are not, worth. He's being reasonable. He's paying premiums, but perfect example is Canelo wanting $200 million to fight against Crawford. In other words, that means he doesn't want to fight. That's basically it. So I just feel that Turkey is a breath of fresh air. He's making the fights that people want to see, and we're all working together.
It's strange that Turkey Alalshikh seems to have ended any possible future work together with boxing great Canelo Alvarez. After Alvarez turned down the idea of working together on any terms other than his own, Alalshikh went after him. The event happened at a press meeting in Beverly Hills, where Canelo Alvarez was promoting his fight with Edgar Berlanga on September 14th. When asked about Alalshikh's possible deal to fight Terence Crawford, Alvarez said he didn't like the way Alalshikh was going about things.
I don't really care about it. Look, I'm focused 100% on my fight, and I don't really care about it. They called me yesterday. They text me yesterday if it's possible to talk about the Crawford fight for February or meet to yesterday here in Los Angeles with him. And I say, look, I'm 100% focused on this fight, and I can talk about other fights. Maybe that's why he talked about that today, because I say I'm not ready to talk about other fights. And I don't really ask him for anything. I'm good.
Due to the difference in weight classes, Alvarez didn't want to fight Crawford. However, the Mexican star earlier said he would consider the fight for $150 million.
Canelo, Johnny Boy Boxing, Fight Hype. I just want to ask you, what do you think about Terence Crawford? What do we think about Terence Crawford's performance, and do you want to get a fight with him?
If the money is right, I mean...
$100 million? I heard Turkey offered you a big money already.
150.
Alalshikh himself said that he had offered the Crawford fight to Canelo during the Madrimov-Crawford fight even.
Are we going to see Terence Crawford versus Canelo?
As I tell before to the ESPN, I give him the offer. If he's smart, he will accept it.
Canelo's request, on the other hand, might not have been serious, and Alalshikh doesn't seem to be interested in the idea anymore since the Mexican legend made it. Alalshikh used social media to chat about what was going on in his boxing career. He said that he no longer wanted to meet Canelo Turkey. I just wrapped up an important meeting now with my team planning for the upcoming fights that we will make for 2024 to 2025. This statement ended the possible mega fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, which caused a lot of talk in the boxing world. Alalshikh's tweet showed a planned shift toward the US market, making it clear that he wanted to make bigger chances for boxing legend Terence Crawford. All further added, I chose to disregard the Canelo fight as I don't want it anymore. Instead, I will be focused on the US market with bigger fights, especially for the legend Crawford. Canelo didn't like the way Turkey approached him for the future fight and said that if the Saudis want to work with him, they have to work on Canelo's term in return. Alalshikh, who has gained prominence in the boxing world with major funding from the Saudi crown prince, openly accused Alvarez of avoiding challenging fights. Alalshikh's retort seemed to close the door on any future part alliance Turkey posted. I heard what Canelo said, that he respects me but doesn't like the way we do business. As for him respecting me, it doesn't matter to me if he does or not. As for the way I do business, I know why he doesn't like it, because I only target big fights at fair prices, so of course anyone who likes easy fights won't like that, and I know how he feels after losing to Bivol, so he's been looking for easier fights ever since. Also, I'm not the one who's afraid of fighting David Benavidez or Crawford, therefore I knew he was wasting our time and making excuses with big amounts of money that can't be paid, so I'm continuing continuing my way to make big fights that serve the boxing world, and he's on his way to making easy show-only fights Canelo. Alvarez then replied to His Excellency's critical post with a crying emoji, signaling his indifference about his views. Indeed, Alvarez doesn't seem bothered by Turkey's words because he needs him, and not vice versa.
It's crazy, and it makes me laugh with all the antics that Canelo is doing and saying in the media and whatnot about the size, and he won't get no credit and all this type of things. But Canelo been fighting smaller guys his whole career. Canelo been making his own catch weight for years. You know, Canelo fought a smaller Mayweather. Canelo fought a smaller not Amir Khan, but Amir Khan.
Yeah, he did at 155.
Amir Khan. You know, he fought Jamel Charlo, and I'm pretty sure he didn't make as much money with all those guys except Mayweather. Even Berlanga right now, that he will with me, but yet and still, you know, he have all these excuses why he don't want to take a fight with me. If it's all about business, then you doing good business. If I'm easy work, I heard him say I'm easy work. If I was easy work, well, you know, you would take all that money that he's offering you.
Eddie Hearn thinks Canelo's money demand is because of the risk he'll take in order to face an opponent like Crawford, who would have to jump to more divisions to face Canelo.
Oh, I mean, it's one for him. I mean, I wouldn't think that Canelo watched Crawford on Saturday and was afraid of fighting him at 68. I think for Canelo, it's more about the credibility he gets through victory. I think he's a little bit concerned, having spoken to him in the past, that if he beats a guy that's coming up from 147 to 168, is he really going to get the respect for that? So we'll see. I mean, money talks. You know, if it's the right deal, he'll always take the fight.
All of this did not stop the Mexican from giving his thoughts on Crawford's recent win against Madrimov Canelo. For me, I think that Crawford lost the fight, or it was a draw, or it could be the other side. He knows why weight classes are there now, yet. He has been mentioning my name a lot lately because he wants to sell the Madrimov fight. If they don't talk about me, they don't sell anything. If the money is right, I don't like fighters who move around the weight classes. There has been much pleading from fight fans and media for Canelo to test himself against the dangerous super middleweight David Benavidez. But Alvarez has called for a gigantic payday to take such a high-risk fight instead. The 34-year-old champion has bagged paydays against lesser competition despite public pressure. Someone who has never been shy to speak his mind is former UFC 2 division champion Conor McGregor, who took to XCOM to share his thoughts on Canelo's selling power and about going head-to-head with the UFC on the same night as UFC 306, which takes place at the $2.3 billion Sphere show Canelo's a cornflake. McGregor wrote that he continued, "He is about 3 OK pay-per-view buys in him. He does not generate nothing near what he seeks to be paid. UFC Nos is going to run them from the strip sheet." Turkey was right. Moving on, Canelo doesn't sell Oscar de la Hoya. Thinks that Canelo is outpricing himself and criticized him for asking for $150 million to fight Crawford. Oscar thinks that Alalshikh is right for calling out Canelo's ridiculous demand.
Like Turkey is not interested in making Canelo Crawford, maybe Virgil Crawford, if, you know, Virgil gets past.
Absolutely. I think, look, the one thing that I respect about Your Excellency and Turkey is he wants to make the best fights. That's basically it. And a lot of fighters, you know, they outprice themselves, therefore the fans lose, and we can't watch those fights. But now Turkey's coming in, paying money, but he's not paying absurd amounts of monies that fighters are not, you know, worth. He's being reasonable. He's paying premiums, but perfect example is Canelo wanting $200 million to fight against Crawford. In other words, that means he doesn't want to fight.
Canelo has been open about Crawford being an easier fight for him before having a beef with Alalshikh. Canelo said, "I think Crawford, don't get me wrong, is a great fighter, but for me in my weight class, it's an easy fight, easy money if the money's right. I'm in. I don't like to fight guys like Crawford because he moves a lot and the fight is not that great. I saw his last fight, and he doesn't move that much now. If the money is right, I'm in. Why not? I know in his mind he thinks he can do whatever he wants because he's very talented, but that's why there are weight classes, and he knows now. Crawford would need to move up to weight classes for the fight from super welter to super middle. Later in the interview, Canelo addressed David Benavidez, the man most in the sport field deserves his shot more than anybody, and said he would take the fight for no less than $200 million. He then explained why calling the 27-year-old a risk is a feeling he doesn't hold for Crawford. Canelo added, obviously Benavidez is a risk. He's a great fighter, and plus he brings to the ring on fight night 25 pounds more than me, but I don't care about that. If the money is right, I can beat that guy tomorrow. Tired of waiting for the fight, Benavidez has chosen to campaign at light heavyweight for the foreseeable future, but Canelo fighting Edgar Berlanga doesn't help his cause. Many think that Canelo stucking David Benavidez because he knows he would lose Crawford's fight. This is also a big lose-lose situation for Canelo, where he thinks he won't get much credit to win the fight. That's why he's asking for such high prices to fight both Crawford and Benavidez. Canelo's next opponent, Edgar Berlanga, knew David Benavidez's name would be mentioned, and when it was brought up, Berlanga didn't pull any punches. He said, I don't want to hear Benavidez's FK Benavidez. A lot of people just keep mentioning Benavidez and all these guys. Y'all know it's not going to happen, and that's just that September 14th. Berlanga. Canelo Puerto Rico versus Mexico. Following the press conference, Berlanga had additional words for any critics who think it should have been Benavidez challenging Alvarez and not him. He further added, those are haters, man, and all those people out there, they're going to still buy the pay-per-view. They're going to still talk. Floyd Mayweather became Floyd because he had so many people hating him, right or wrong. Floyd became Floyd because of the hate. If Floyd never had the hate, Floyd would never be who he was. You need that, and I'm used to that hate he tacked on. I go on social media and see things, and that arrests me because the best victory is when it's won and you could shut all the haters up. That's the best feeling. Berlanga's father, manager Edgar Berlanga Sr., agrees with his son, also dismissing Benavidez's name. He stated, I don't care about that, we got the fight, and we're going to beat Canelo. There was a moment during Tuesday's Canelo Alvarez Edgar Berlanga news conference in Los Angeles when Berlanga called out Caleb Plant, who was sitting amongst the media.
Is intelligence and IQ, and we're not going to end up like that with I knocked out Caleb.
All right, card.
Yeah.
All right, let's turn things back over.
Stop
Caleb,
the cap,
Caleb,
no?
take it easy. I'm gonna take care of him for you. I promise you. I promise you.
Caleb,
That's for you,
shut
hey, buddy.
You
that's
lucky
for
you
you.
get smacked. Go and shape
You
your
think he
beard.
got more IQ than you?
What you say? That what?
Canelo.
What you say?
Canelo kept speaking with Berlanga directly, saying, you think you have more IQ than Floyd Mayweather and Miguel Cotto than Arislandy. Laura, come on, bro, you're nothing. Take it easy and wait, because your turn is coming. Upon Berlanga constantly telling him you're going to see Alvarez, was upset enough to make a bold prediction for their September 14th fight. He said, I'm going to let you have 8 rounds, just 8 shots, you're going to feel pain. 8 rounds from there, you're finished, mark my words. Their heated exchanges continued after the news conference when Alvarez told Berlanga, you think I'm scared of you? I've beat many like you. You're nothing. Canelo himself knows that Berlanga is not much of a threat for him, which is why he's taking easier fights in the latter part of his career. However, there are many who still want Canelo to meet Benavidez, despite the fact that Benavidez has moved up a weight class now. Stephen A. Smith doesn't like the idea of Canelo facing Crawford next because he thinks the size difference would be too much for Crawford to handle. Instead, he wants Canelo to face Benavidez because Stephen thinks that Benavidez is the best in the 168 class. He stated, I hate this game. I don't like it one bit. I think Crawford is the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet, and Canelo is also among them, but Canelo is fighting at 168, which means he's walking G heavier. I want what all boxing fans want. We want the current defending super middleweight champion fighting against another super middleweight champion in David Benavidez. David doesn't deserve to be forgotten. David Benavidez is worthy to have a money fight with Canelo because he has proven himself to be the best. And to think that Canelo won't fight him and choose someone who's 3 divisions below him in Crawford just doesn't seem fair. Robert Garcia thinks that Canelo wouldn't want to give Benavidez a shot because he has the power to do so, but he also said that he would love to see a fight between the two boxing titans.
I personally think that Benavidez is going to stay at 175 because I don't think him versus Canelo is going to happen. I think there's already been so much talk, so much saying back and forth to a point where Canelo is going to say, why? I just don't want to give it to him. You know, Canelo has that power. You know, he doesn't need the fight against Benavidez. To us, I would love to see.
Karcha thinks that Benavidez has the tool to beat Canelo, but you can never count out a legend like Canelo. He claimed that Canelo is so talented that he could actually win this fight. I truly feel like Benavidez has the tools to beat Canelo, but I could be wrong. He also believes that Canelo is not afraid of fighting Benavidez, as he has faced them all. Canelo has fought everybody. I don't think he's afraid. I think he's too proud, and just saying that I can do anything I want. I don't have to please everybody that's asking for this fight. He's like, I don't have to please Benavidez or his dad, who have said things about Canelo that weren't too nice. I think he'll get a lot of respect for giving this fight to the boxing world, but he doesn't have to do it, so I don't blame him for that. However, Floyd Mayweather thinks that Canelo should be tested against a fighter like Benavidez. Instead, he said, if it were up to me, we'd want to see Benavidez face Canelo. It's time for Canelo to stop cherry-picking opponents and take on a real threat like Benavidez. Floyd thinks that Canelo should face David in order to cement his reputation even further. Benavidez is a hungry lion, and Canelo needs to step up to face him if he wants to prove he's truly the best. I respect Canelo's accomplishments, but dodging Benavidez only raises questions about his desire to take on real challenges, and asked who he thinks would have an upper hand during a potential fight between Canelo and Benavidez. Rio says that there's no question that Canelo is an elite boxer, but right now David is just too fast and hungry for him to handle. Rio stated David beats Canelo. He's too fast. He's too hungry. Canelo's a great fighter, though I'd take off my hat for him. He's a great Mexican boxer who has done a lot. He'll definitely go down in the history books as one of the best to ever do it, but right now, when I watch Canelo live, I think David beats him. Oscar de la Hoya also believes that Benavidez would knock Canelo out if the fight ever happens. He thinks that Benavidez is young and has a high output of jabs, which could trouble Canelo.
Benavidez is a monster. He throws. Benavidez throws literally an average of above 50 to 55 punches a round. Canelo, Charlo, in the first round, they threw one punch combined. I'm not talking to you as, oh, I hate Canelo, oh, I hate Benavidez. No, I'm talking about a boxing expert. Those are the facts. That's reality on paper. Now, what happens in the ring and the bell rings, I don't know. If Canelo lands that one bomb that he always throws, the right hand, I mean, it's sayonara. It's game over for Benavidez. But I think Benavidez, because he's young, because he's strong, because he's very versatile and throws a lot of punches, it's going to create problems for Canelo.
Mike Tyson is a big fan of Benavidez and thinks that he would win if a fight between him and Canelo ever happens. Tyson is so confident in him that he is sure that he would even beat Dmitry Bivol. Mike stated, Benavidez is my guy. I think he can beat anybody in the division. I love Canelo, but he's not going to beat him. He's a little past his prime. I think he could even beat the guy who beat Canelo, Dmitry Bivol. Jim Lampley remained genuinely in awe of Benavidez's boxing acumen. However, when he compared it with Canelo, he gave the legend status to the 612 record holder. Lampley stated, first of all, Davis Benavidez is cosmic, exciting, spectacular, etc. But you're talking about the evidence of one fight. Canelo Alvarez, you're talking about the evidence of 70 fights. Jim further added, I don't know enough about David Benavidez to say to you, oh, he's going to beat Canelo Alvarez. He's going to knock out a guy that nobody else has really been able to put on the canvas. Do I think David is a cosmic puncher, the biggest I've ever seen at that weight? I do believe that Jim questioned people who think that Canelo is afraid of Benavidez. He thinks, why would Canelo not fight Benavidez if he had fought Gennady Golovkin twice? Do I believe that it's a fight I've got to see that has to happen? It needs to take place in the wake of this. I've never seen Canelo back down from a challenge. He fought Gennady Golovkin twice. Why would he be scared of David Benavidez? Rio Valenzuela thinks that if Canelo fights Crawford first, then the chances of him fighting Benavidez would become very slim, but he also believes that David should get a shot at Canelo because he deserves.
Keep saying, you know, if the money's right, so I think the money will be right, you know, eventually. It depends which route Canelo goes, though. You know, it sounds like Terence Crawford, the Saudis want to make that fight happen, so if he fights Crawford, then I think it will be less likely he'll fight Benavidez. But yeah, hopefully David gets it. You know, I think he deserves it. You know, he's been the best for the minute.
So what are your thoughts about this situation? Do you think that Turkey is right about Canelo facing easier opponents?
The one thing that I respect about Your Excellency and Turkey is he wants to make the best fights. That's basically it. And a lot of fighters, you know, they outprice themselves, therefore the fans lose, and we can't watch those fights. But now Turkey's coming in, paying money, but he's not paying absurd amounts of monies that fighters are not, you know, worth. He's being reasonable. He's paying premiums, but perfect example is Canelo wanting $200 million to fight against Crawford. In other words, that means he doesn't want to fight. That's basically it. So I just feel that Turkey is a breath of fresh air. He's making the fights that people want to see, and we're all working together.
Do let us know in the comment section below if you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.